In the winter of 1603, the royal servants of England were terrified. Their Queen, Elizabeth I, was about to step out in public. But before she left her room, they had to do something disturbing. They took pieces of expensive black fabric and forcefully stuffed them into her mouth. They weren't trying to gag her. They were trying to hide a horrific secret. When the Queen finally smiled, her teeth weren't white. They were completely black. They looked like rotting pieces of coal inside her skull. A foreign ambassador wrote that her teeth were so decayed, it was hard to understand her when she spoke. She wasn't cursed by a witch, and she wasn't suffering from a rare medieval disease. She was the victim of a new, highly addictive substance that had just arrived on the shores of Europe. A white powder so powerful, it conquered the royal court faster than any invading army ever could. Sugar. Today, you can buy a bag of sugar for less than $1 at any corner store. You dump it into your coffee, your cereal, and your snacks without a single thought. But 400 years ago, sugar was so rare it wasn't treated like food. It was treated like diamonds. It was called white gold. When you consume sugar, your brain releases a massive flood of dopamine. It's the exact same chemical pathway triggered by survival mechanisms like finding water in a desert. Except your brain didn't evolve to handle pure, concentrated sweetness. Queen Elizabeth became completely powerless against it. She demanded sugar on everything. She put it in her soup, her meat, and her wine. She even used a popular new royal toothpaste that was made entirely of sugar. She was brushing her teeth with the very thing that was destroying them. But the rotting of the Queen's mouth was only the surface. The true nightmare began when the public noticed her black teeth. In the 16th century, only the unimaginably wealthy could afford to buy sugar. If you had sugar, you were rich. If you didn't, you were a nobody. And so, a bizarre psychological shift occurred across the entire country. Black teeth suddenly became the ultimate status symbol. It meant you had so much money, you could afford to rot your own body from the inside out. But the worst was yet to come. Middle-class citizens and poor peasants who could never dream of buying real sugar wanted to look rich. So they started doing something unthinkable. They took soot, charcoal, and black ink and deliberately painted their healthy white teeth black. They were intentionally mimicking a painful, disgusting physical deformity just to trick their neighbors, to show they belonged to a high-status system that didn't even care they existed. This wasn't just a silly historical trend. It was the birth of a terrifying machine. The global sugar industry realized that humans would willingly suffer, starve, and decay just to feel like they belong. They began establishing massive, brutal plantations across the Atlantic. Millions of people were enslaved, worked to death under the scorching sun, all to feed a psychological delusion. Production exploded. In the 1700s, British sugar imports increased by over 500%. As sugar flooded the market, the price plummeted. Suddenly, everyone could afford it. But the trap didn't close in the fields. It closed in a modern laboratory. In the 20th century, food scientists discovered something called the bliss point. It is a precise mathematical calculation of exactly how much sugar can be added to a food item before your brain says stop. It is engineered to maximize craving while bypassing your body's natural fullness signals. They didn't just put it in candy. They hid it in bread, pasta sauce, yogurt, and baby food. In 1970, a secret corporate memo from a major food conglomerate leaked. It stated that if they reduced sugar content by even 10%, their customer retention rate dropped instantly. They knew they weren't selling food. They were selling a neurochemical cage. Now, think about your own life. Think about the last time you bought a luxury item you couldn't really afford. Or the last time you scrolled through social media, looking at lives that seem perfect, wishing you were them. You might think you are making your own choices. You might think you buy things because you genuinely want them. But you are doing the exact same thing those desperate medieval peasants did in the mud of London. You are painting your own teeth black. You are mimicking the symptoms of a system that is consuming you, just to prove to the world that you are winning. Every advertisement, every algorithm, and every engineered snack is designed to keep you in that loop. You didn't lose control of your habits because you are weak. You lost control because someone spent 400 years perfecting the art of keeping you hungry. And the scariest part, you are still smiling while it happens.